What's going on, everyone? It's the Video Game Architect, and today I'm bringing you guys the ultimate guide to oxygen not included part 3. If you guys do enjoy content like this, please do hit that like button, don't forget to comment, and most importantly, hit your boy a subscribe, help a small channel out, because at this point 95.7% of my viewers are not subscribed, and it seems to be a trend every single month. So please do, if you find yourself coming back to my channel to watch these continuations of these tutorials, please do hit me a subscribe. It helps so much, and it helps bring more content like this your guys' way. Without any further ado though, let's get right into part 3. Alright, so you'll notice right away I'm going to continue our build upwards, and I mentioned it in a previous episode. The reason why we're going to continue the build upwards is because we are trying to find space. Once we find any space tiles, it will be accessible for us to pipe all our unwanted gases straight up to space, and it just basically makes them disappear off our map completely if you use that technique. And you'll actually notice here as we're digging upwards, I'm about to hit a pocket of unwanted gas. I believe it might be chlorine, I might be mistaken, but regardless, I'm about to hit a cloud of unwanted gas that's about to seep down into our home. So we are eventually going to want to start worrying about getting rid of these unwanted gases, and this is why we're going to be continuing our build upwards towards space. Very, very important we keep that build going. Now next, you'll notice we're going to start worrying about our power, because this hamster wheel is very much outdated. So we're going to set down a coal generator on our lowest tier currently, and we're going to want to place a smart battery next to that. Now, there is some prerequisites that we're going to need to complete before we can actually get this smart battery. If you notice on the smart battery, when I was hovering over it there, it says the missing resources are copper ore. So we're gonna actually have to create some copper ore at this point, and that's why we're going to need to actually come in here and find our refinery tab here, which takes me a second, don't mind that, but we're gonna find the refinery tab, and once we find that, we're gonna be able to get crude refinery, and that will allow us to refine rock down, or whatever different types of metals we find in our world. We'll be able to refine them and make some more refined metals, which will allow us to make some copper ore. Once we get our copper ore going, then we could create a smart battery, heavy watt wires, etc. A lot of things that are going to be necessary in the future gameplay coming up here. But here we go, brute force refinement, and now you'll see that the rock crusher is available, and that is what we are looking for, so that we can start getting some more refined metals out of raw metals right now currently. So that's why we're focused on unlocking that. That's simply so we can start getting power up. I noticed a lot of you guys mentioning about my wash basins, etc. I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. The reason why it's not so important for me to get wash basins up early that need to be refilled constantly is it's just taking time from our duplicates to actually keep them updated, and it's kind of wasted time because the germs early game are not going to slow down our duplicates here really at all. As you can see, they're all working and everything's moving really efficiently here. So I'm not really going to worry about wash basins until we have our power up, until we have water getting pumped, and then we could just go right to the wash basins that control themselves, and we could just get rid of the wastewater, and we don't need to worry about wasting duplicate time, because right now the time is really valuable because we don't have a lot of automated things going on. So everything is basically run straight from our duplicates currently, and that's why you want to minimize the amount of extra time that they have to spend on doing anything. And wash basins are extra time. You'll actually notice they're cleaning the toilets right now, and that's just time wasted as well on our duplicates. But obviously toilets are an absolute necessity, and wash basins simply are not early game. So I just wanted to clear that up a little bit for you guys. And if you guys do disagree with me and you want to go ahead and slap early game wash basins, the ones that are uncontrolled, go ahead, and you can just go ahead and delete them and put the automated in ones later. But if you're like me and you would rather have the duplicates spending time on things that are more valuable, go ahead and just skip that early game, and you'll see right here that everything's going to be completely fine, and the duplicates are going to make it to the stages of automation. So you'll see they're going to continue their build upwards now, and that pocket of gas has leaked out into our world, but we are also about to hit another pocket of oxygen. So it's not all bad gases up there. That's the good news. So we finally have our rock crusher unlocked here, so I'm gonna go ahead and set that down, run the wires through the floor here, and get that built up and connected so that we could start refining copper ore down here, which is going to be very, very handy and useful here. You see that hamster wheel with her wasting her time sprinting on it? That's why we're trying to get this completed right now, because that is an absolute waste of duplicate time and it's unnecessary. So we're gonna go ahead, rock crushers built up. They're gonna come down here and finish off the wires as requested. Beautiful. You can already see the floors coming in handy. Again, running wires through the floor. See how they're hidden. I haven't done a perfect job of it here. I've noticed, especially on the initial tile, I just ran it along the floor. That was a mistake, but we can always clean that up later on. Don't worry about that. But for now, try to get as much cord through the actual floor as you can, and it makes it look a much cleaner. You can see that the rock crusher is being used, but automatically it's becoming an issue because we don't have that much power, because we do have our researchers going, which means there's power going towards our computer, there's powers going towards the oxygen diffusers, and now there's power going to our rock crusher. So that girl is working on double time running on that hamster wheel, and that's exactly why we want to get our power first automated thing up. That's for sure, because having that generator running and not having to waste duplicate time on a hamster wheel is imperative at this point, because yeah, it's just wasted time and we need our duplicates working. That's the whole goal here, is keeping them working and keeping them happy while they're working. It's all about a happy balance. Taking advantage of that mess hall. Now they're getting some sleep in. All right, back to work. Now you'll notice over here on our farming tiles, this has annoyed me basically since the previous episode. For whatever reason, these few tiles are not wanting to grow, and it's almost as if stuff is on top of them, so they're not continuing growing. I don't know what the issue is here. If you guys know what's going on here and could clear that up for the rest of us, that would be really handy, because what ends up happening later on is I'm just going to end up deleting those out completely, putting new tiles in. It ends up not being an issue, but I have a feeling some stuff may have fell on top of it and is preventing it from growing. I try to clear it out, but nothing seems to work here, so I just end up getting rid of them. But yeah, if you guys know what's going on with my farming tiles there and why those few tiles are not wanting to grow, please do let me know down below. It would be really helpful. So yeah, those refined renovations. The next one I'm trying to get is that pole, and the pole is extremely handy because we can build copper poles that go from wherever our little middle sections are there, and we could run poles all the way down, and they can slide down those poles, almost like, think of a fireman pole. Basically that's what it is exactly that, and it will allow them to basically traverse these maps a lot faster, at least coming downwards. So they are really handy, and again, they save duplicate time. So that seems to be the theme of this episode, is saving time with these duplicates and starting to get things a little bit automated. You can see there that Buddy actually had to go and collect water for the coolant for the supercomputer. So even things like that, you know, if we could just cut down on those times, it is really handy. We are going to have to start worrying about that gases tab very soon. So because again, we're trying to get our way up to space there, and I'm going to want to start venting out our unwanted gases soon. That is going to be a priority in these future episodes for sure. So now that we have that rock crusher going, you can notice here that the smart battery is now available because we have enough copper ore. So that's fantastic news. We also have enough for the heavy watt wire. You want to use the heavy watt wire because that's a generator, a coal generator, obviously, and it's pumping out lots of watts. So having the heavy watt wire just allows it to connect through the battery and gets a lot more energy out into that battery than the regular wires would. So use heavy watt when you're actually connecting your generator to your battery, and then you can use regular wire to connect it to the rest of your necessities, basically. So just heavy watt between the two of those, and you don't need to worry about using that for the rest. Here I'm just kind of looking at the skills of our duplicants here and just considering some things before going ahead and accepting new duplicates in. You always want to consider what strengths do you have, what strengths don't you have, and what might be able to help your base move faster, right? It's all about efficiency. Yeah, these 4 tiles, man, they just see, I'm gonna try and clean them up and get everything off of them, and nothing seems to work for whatever reason. They're just a pain in the ass, but we'll take care of them still. And yeah, you can see the fire pole is now available, so that's really, really handy, and we are gonna focus on getting those built up at some point in the future here for sure. As you can see, those 2 oxygen diffusers have been more than enough for supplying enough oxygen for 5 duplicates. To be honest, I think even if we pull in 6 or 7 duplicates, they create enough oxygen. So especially once we have our generator here going and the hamster wheel is no longer necessary, it will be running all the time, those diffusers, so we will have even more oxygen than we do now. So don't go crazy on the oxygen diffusers and don't waste those materials on them if it's unnecessary. 2 is completely fine. I did hear some comments down below talking about they had issues with oxygen. I'm not really sure what's going on there. If you are having oxygen issues with the 2 diffusers, it could be that you're not getting enough energy to them, potentially. I'm not 100% sure. So if you're having issues with that, you could go ahead and try and add a 3rd one, or maybe separate the 2 diffusers onto different levels. But as you can see here, having the 2 side by side seem to be doing just fine here. So hopefully it's not an issue for too many of you guys. As you can see, they're collecting up our food, and our food is doing pretty good here. We're at 35,000 calories at this point, and we're moving upwards. So once we get these 4 tiles actually being used, that will help even more. So I'm finally just fed up with them, and I decide we're gonna go ahead and deconstruct them because they are just a waste right now of space. So we're gonna deconstruct them and replace them with new ones so that they can actually start growing more food for our duplicates here, because right now they are just a complete waste of space. So go ahead and replace them right away, because food is obviously very, very important. I don't understand why those have an issue with things being on top of them when you can see all the rest of our tiles have all kinds of stuff that has fallen from the previous tiles onto them. So I'm so confused why it was an issue just for those 4. So weird. But I digress. An issue no longer. And as soon as he builds up that last one, copy over the exact settings from the previous tiles, and there you go. Now they know that I want them to come place some more food there, and we are good to go. So I'm really glad that I decided to zoom up back here and check on their progress climbing up, because I'm going to just go ahead and cancel that right there, because I don't want to hit that cloud if it's unnecessary. I know I was saying we're going to allow some gases in, but at the same time, if it's avoidable, go ahead and avoid it as much as possible, and then you don't have to worry about piping those gases out as much, right? So for right now, if we could just move over to the right a little bit and then continue our build up, that's exactly what we're going to do. And you'll see that a lot of these require hard digging, so at this point it's going to only really have one person that can dig a lot of that out. So that's unfortunate, but hey, at least we have that unlocked and that it will at least continue to be built. That's what's important. So now we have that set up and they can continue building up towards space. Again, as you're doing everything else, always keep that in mind early game. You want to be building up, you want to be moving up, and you want to find pockets of space. Space is extremely handy in this game for sure. That vacuum of nothingness ends up being a really handy tool to us. All right, so now that we actually have our super battery connected to our coal generator, we're gonna go ahead and actually connect it to our network here. And once those wires are connected, we no longer have any need for our old battery or our old hamster wheel. It's completely outdated and unnecessary, and those duplicates running on it will no longer have to waste their time and energy on creating energy for us essentially. So now we actually have it automated, and that is one less thing that is manual, and we are beginning our transition to automation, which is really handy, and I've been promising it to you guys. So here you go. This is step one. You want to get your power going, and now we have that. So this is extremely handy and very useful. And you'll notice right away that the power is starting to get used because it goes from a full battery to starting to disperse it to the necessary machines. So this is fantastic news. That means it's working, and we can go ahead and just deconstruct that hamster wheel. We have evolved to the next stage. No more wasted time, no more manual energy being created. So very good news there. A big step forward. And you'll notice that our oxygen diffusers now just run constantly. Our computers can be run whenever you want. You no longer have to worry about that. Everything is just good to go and is ready to be used constantly, which is extremely handy. And we're gonna go ahead and select Catalina. And as you can see, I had already prepared for her by building a new cot and building out a new washroom. So that is extremely handy, and that's something that you want to be always doing before accepting more duplicates in, is expanding the necessities out. There was already an extra spot at the table, so I don't have to worry about that. She's good to go there. So we're really in a good spot here, and as you can see, we don't do anything without pre-planning and getting ahead of the curve first. So I'm just going to go ahead and shut off our actual cots here to make it a room, so to speak. So we have our bedroom there, and start making this a little nicer, clean it up a little bit. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and start building another tile down, because at the end of the day, we will at least make one, maybe two more floors going downwards here, and use up as much space as we absolutely can in our world here. So we're gonna go ahead again, you guys know the drill, set tiles down, because we always use tiles here. So go ahead, they'll start clearing that out. And the next thing I'm considering here that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to build our next separation here and our ladder. So you guys know the drill, 3 spaces. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this 4th one. You need 3 spaces and then a ladder down the center. And it's the same every single time when we're about to create new floors. But we are going to go ahead and get that queued up on the right and the left side here. And now that is prepared and ready to go. And honestly guys, I think this is the perfect spot to end part 3 to this tutorial. I know you guys are asking to see how the wash basins and everything work. I promise you, now that we have our energy running and our coal generator going and our smart battery, that we are on the way to getting automation going here, and you guys will see all kinds of new things start to trickle into the game, and it's not going to be so basic and manually run. So Please do stay tuned for part 4. You guys are gonna love where this is going, and we're gonna start slowly transitioning to middle game stuff as we go here. So I hope you guys have really enjoyed this part, and I do just want to really quickly say thank you to everybody who got me past 2,000 subscribers. It really is a big landmark to me, and you guys helped me get to 2,000 way faster than I got to 1,000, so things are going in the right direction, and I really do appreciate each and every single one of you guys so much who have helped build up this channel to what it is now. Without any further ado though, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. This is the Video Game Architect. I hope you guys all have a great one.